Let's take the feet almost as wide as your mat, depending on the length of your mat, but wider than your hips. Arms are wide. Again, first slow ones. We're not going to go to our full range of motion, but I'm just going to let the knees, both knees, start to lean to the right. And again, slow enough so I feel the weight of my pelvis settle as I move, right? Sometimes when we move, when we activate the muscles, they engage, they almost lift us off the floor to move us. It's very subtle, but can you keep everything very heavy? Right, move, micro move, pause, soften, get heavy. Micro move, pause, soften, get heavy. Across right side of sacrum, towards the edge of the sacrum, slowly over that edge. It's a nice, interesting place. Glutes attach, piriformis attaches. And then slowly moving across that buttock flesh. My feet are heavy and I'm still watching. Can I release or relax that left leg, the inner thigh, even though it's navigating the movement, even though it's working in a very maybe small way? Can I still soften? And even though the knees are starting to lean out to the right, can I settle the weight of the thighs towards the pelvis? And then slowly, slowly, again, thighs heavy as I roll back towards the center. Left hip gets heavy, left shoulder, left arm has a presence. Slowly rolling back to center. Through center. And over to the other side. Left side of sacrum. Edge of sacrum. Slowly moving across that edge. Right from the hardness of the bone to the less hard tissue of the buttocks. And again, noticing the feet, soften the feet. Thighs heavy, right? Letting that right thigh stay heavy. Like the length of the femur falling into the hip joint, even as it's tipping to the left. Same with the left thigh, the weight of the femur moving back or in towards the hip joint. Maybe the weight of the lower legs towards the feet. The jaw soft, belly soft. Right, that same sense of width or spaciousness in the upper palate. Back of the throat. Right, from inner ear to inner ear through the skull. And then slowly, and right hip gets heavy, right ribs, right arm, femurs, right, those thigh bones, those heavy thigh bones sinking towards the pelvis. And slowly, slowly roll back. Right, stuff is working. Just minimize how it's working. Notice what's overworking. Okay, so this time I'm gonna, again, when I'm back towards center and then through center, going to the right again. Ideally, the tissue's able to kind of compress. guess that's the quality, right? That it feels like it's being compressed and it gets more pliable, more squishy. I know nobody wants to think of their butt squishy, but we're going there. Rolling again across that tissue slowly enough that maybe it's able to surrender a little more quickly. And then maybe I go just a little bit further. Okay, so I'm gonna let my knees just settle and my hips settle in this both knees to the right position. And I'm gonna let everything rest at the end range. And then I'm gonna take that left arm. We've done this before more quickly. We're just gonna slow it down. So left arm, straight arm is gonna start to, almost like a snow angel, I'm gonna go up along the floor, over the head. The arm can be on the floor, sliding, grazing the floor slightly above if the shoulder's a little compromised. But again, moving slowly and just slowly enough so that I can negotiate what my arm-shoulder relationship is, as well as getting the hips to soften, the breath, jaw. And then as that arm comes straight above the head, it's going to start to pull me to the right, right? So the ribs are going to turn to the right. See if you can relax the right shoulder, right back, and then left arm. Again, there's effort. But I'm going to slowly guide that left arm around and away from center. So the movement of the arm rolls me from the back of the shoulder to the outer shoulder. That left arm making its way towards the right arm. And just watching left knee, left thigh, feet, jaw. Good, left hand finds that right hand. Stack the palms for a moment. Simple movement here. I'm just going to slide that left palm past the right palm, turning the ribs towards the floor. Good. So my left knee came down onto my right foot. Again, if yours has it come all the way down, that's fine. Just trying to soften outer hip, inner thigh. And then I'm going to slide that left hand back. So the palms are stacked. Maybe even slide that left palm up, across the wrist onto the forearm, towards the elbow. And then slide again down, forearm, across the wrist, across the palm, past the palm. Right? Maybe my the heel of my hand is on my right fingertips. Again, just noticing where your body is. It doesn't have to be the same. And then maybe from this position, I'm going to start to go back the way that I came, meaning the left arm is going to travel along the floor, overhead. Again, as that left arm moves. So maybe it's the initiator, but it's still slow, it's still curious. And the right shoulder is having to soften as I roll across it slowly. The hips, the legs, the belly, the breath, the jaw. Slowly. The Again, just noticing and softening to the best of your ability. I'm going to keep both knees to the right, even though they want to come with. Just going to resist that for a moment as I roll again across onto the back of the right shoulder, back of rib cage. Left arm slowly making its way back. And my head is wanting to follow. Head is turning left. Just notice what your head is doing. Notice what it wants to do. Notice resistance. And then slowly, slowly let the hips follow. Left hip, left shoulder, femurs heavy. And come back to center. Good, and I'm going to go the other way. So my head still wants to go left, and I'm just going to leave it there because that's what it wants to do. So my knees are going to slowly tip to the left. Again, the weight's still sinking into the floor, even though the legs are at that angle. And femurs heavy into the pelvis. And then I'm just going to let them settle there. And then right arm starts to travel. So right arm reaching almost away. You can think about reaching away from the center of the torso, center of the chest, or center of the shoulder joint. As it slowly starts to reach overhead, right? Maybe there's a little more effort through the whole body as well as you end up rolling up from the back of the shoulder to the outer left shoulder, back of the pelvis to the outer hip. Thighs are still heavy, lower legs heavy. Right arm is still reaching away from the center, just gently, just to help initiate movement. And then slowly, slowly, right arm comes to meet the left arm. Palms on top of each other for a moment. And then sliding that right hand past the left hand. I'm just sliding the heel of the hand to the fingertips. Just feeling what that does in the rest of the body. And then sliding the hand back up, meaning palms come together, heel of hand to heel of hand, and then palm slides up, across that left wrist, up the forearm, to the elbow. Moving slow, feeling what's happening in the hip and the shoulder and the neck. Sliding back down. Again, notice what happens with the feet and the legs. There is effort. Just keep minimizing it, softening it. One more time, right palm comes onto the left palm and then slides. Keep sliding to the left, bringing the heel of the hand to the fingertips or towards. And then from that position, start to travel with that right arm. Overhead again. And noticing, softening, heavy, softening, heavy. Especially as that arm starts to come over and slightly behind. Slowing it down and letting the body do like that super slow motion roll. In a fluid, soft way. Good. And then once your right arm is found where it started, let the hips follow. Right hip heavy, right femur heavy, left femur and hip heavy. Slowly, slowly. Just feeling, softening, outer hips, lower back, feet, jaw. And come back to center. Good, and just notice what you notice.